Leeds United are set for an incredibly important match against Sheffield Wednesday. After taking a little bit of a break for an FA Cup match and having not won the two games before that, it's a brilliant opportunity to get back to the best possible form. So I'm going to talk you through the team news, our predicted lineup. I'm going to talk a little bit about how Sheffield Wednesday play and how we need to respond to that, and ultimately give my predictions for the match. So to start with, we need to talk about Leeds United's team news. One very good bit of news, one very bad bit of news. Leeds United's top scorer has returned. Joel Piroe is one of the best forwards in the division this season. Let's have a look at how many he scored. 10 in the league. I think he also got one in the cup, maybe? I'm not entirely certain. But is a pretty decent presence at the top of the pitch when he starts. Sometimes. He's also very good off the bench. Basically, good to have him back because Mateo Joseph wasn't hugely doing it for me as a number 9. Having Piroe up there, even though I do sometimes think he's not hugely number 9-ish, is fine enough by me. The bad news, however, is that Pascal Struijk is out for a while. I'm saying for a while because we don't know. It's either 3 weeks or it's 3 months, so I don't want to mislead. We'll find out at some point in the week, I think. Sorry, I keep looking out the window. It's because I've got food coming and I'm also doing a little bit of work stuff at the same time. But once we know, we will know, and we'll be able to plan a little bit better for the rest of the season. If it's the longer version, please can we sign someone? Outside of Pascal Struijk, we don't have any further injuries that have been reported, so that is absolutely fine by me. So, in response to that, let's take a quick look at the predicted lineup. And you're going to have to wait and see, because I'm nipping onto Only Leeds Bros later on tonight at 8 o'clock. I believe I'm going to schedule this so once this finishes, you can go right onto it. And hopefully you do, because they're great guys and really, really nicely grown channel. And I'll be talking through my predicted lineup over there. See? Retention. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about Sheffield Wednesday before we talk about how Leeds need to respond to that. And to be fair to them, a lot of people will see Sheffield Wednesday and go, well, they're not very good. They are currently the 7th best away side in the league. Not a ton of teams do better than them away from home. You have Burnley, Sheffield United, Leeds, Sunderland, West Brom, Borough. A hell of a lot of teams that you'd expect to be in and around the playoffs at the end of the season. And Sheffield Wednesday are keeping pace with those, especially away from home. At home, what's their home form looking like? Not great, 18th. But away, they're a threat. Weirdly, that threat comes not from being defensively solid like most teams that go away from home do, because most teams, when you're playing away, will be like, okay, the home team will come to us and we will just hold our own ground. No, that's not how this seems to work. They're not defensively very solid, but they score a lot of goals. Away, they have scored 16, conceded 20. Leaky at both ends is the way that I would look at Sheffield Wednesday so far this season when they're playing away. And that is something kind of fascinating that I think we can maybe look to take advantage of. Because at the same time, they might be 7th away from home, but we are the best home team in the league at the moment. Not comfortably, because we're on 32 points, Sheffield United also on 32, Sunderland on 31, but we are definitely there. And we are definitely a side that will get a hell of a lot of points at home, which is why I'm feeling a bit confident. And we need to talk a little bit about how they play. You can't just talk about how Leeds United do things, because that doesn't matter too much when we might be matching someone that doesn't suit the way that we approach things. Specifically, they tend to play with 3 players at the back, which could be a potential problem because low-lying teams cause an issue for us, especially when we're playing away, but we're not at the minute, so that should be completely fine. It tends to be sort of 3 at the back, wing-backs, and then 4 central midfielders, 2 of which will be a little bit more defensive, and then a number 9 that plays as a bit of a target man. As a result of this, when they're attacking, they tend to play really wide. They focus on using those wing-backs, a couple of the midfielders doing a little bit of interplay with them, and whipping some balls in to cause problems that way. That focus on crosses means that aerial play is going to be pretty big for us in this one. I know that normally this is something where Pascal Struijk excels, and he's not available to us, but it's something that we really need to sort of be intelligent with and make sure that we're not consistently under threat, because I know that we are good enough to win this one. Add on to that the fact that they take kind of a lot of shots, but they are also outperforming their XG. They take a lot of sort of high-risk stuff. If they see a chance on goal, they will have a go at it rather than try and work the chance again and again and again like we tend to do. And they are outperforming their XG, not hugely, only by like 2 goals, but it's enough to make a difference in terms of points. One of the main players to watch, in my opinion, is going to be Bannon because, well, there's the obvious response of because his hairline's genuinely quite funny. But there is also the fact that he is sort of a threat, especially against Leeds. He will always pull something out against us because I just don't think he likes us very much. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. I think if anyone's going to perform against us, it's going to be him. And that's really, really annoying. Somehow, he's 35 years old and his bones haven't turned to dust yet. It's weird. But outside of all that, we need to talk about how exactly Leeds United can counter the way that Sheffield United will play against us. And a lot of it is just the way that we do things at home already. We need to make sure that we are very solid and careful in possession, not giving it away in stupid areas, because give it away stupidly out wide, and those wing-backs will come to hit us incredibly hard. And it's those wide areas that they can have a big threat to us. And if you consider our own fullback situation, Byram, not the fastest. Bogle, the odd injury. Same for Firpo. Voba isn't known for his pace and might be forced into playing at centre-back. It's hard to say. If we're as careful as we can be in possession, those counters aren't going to be a risk, and we don't risk the Strauchless defence being exposed as a potential problem. We don't know that it will be a problem, but it's better to be careful. When it comes to going forwards, we need to try and create transitional chances. An issue that we tend to have against teams that sit really deep is we give them time to get in their shape. If we're able to not do that, if we're able to make sure that they are sort of hurrying back, they try and hit us on the counter, cool, we win the ball, let's counter back even harder. We've got quick, pacey players that can cause problems in that regard, so let's do it. Let's hit them with chances when they're not ready for it, and then we'll do significantly better. If that isn't possible, we need to try and isolate their players. It's a back five, which is hard to play against, especially since when you've got a winger on the ball, they can simply go, okay, our wide centre-back will go and support the wing-back. 2-on-1, good luck, Manor Solomon, or Dan James, or Ramazani, or whoever happens to be playing. If you're able to say, okay, so you got Manor Solomon that you're trying to double up on, what if Junior Firpo or someone tries an overlap? Then you're distracting another one of their defenders and you're giving your wide players time to make those clever decisions. And making those decisions will lead to chances, and with those chances is the last thing that we desperately need to do, and that is be clinical. Take our opportunities. This season so far, compared to our XG, we are overperforming, which is a nice surprise. It doesn't feel like it at the time, but that's because we score some of the low XG stuff. If we can just be clinical, finish off the chances that we do get, make sure that when they get chances, we deal with it with a goalkeeping performance that does the job. And I genuinely think we'll be completely fine. That's the hope. So, with all that considered, what are the predictions? I genuinely think Leeds United are going to win, and I think we're going to do it fairly comfortably. I can feel a 2-0. I can feel it being a little bit shaky at times, but once we get that first goal, I don't want us to just sit on it. I want us to score a second, ideally a third, but we know that isn't necessarily what we do. For me, Leeds win, clean sheet, move on to Norwich. But, as always, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're not yet, even become a channel member, and make sure you go over to watch Only Leeds Bros at 8 o'clock. It'll be a good time. It'll be a nice vibe. Enjoy it, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.